Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is my second video being posted, but actually my 7th time filming. I have filmed 6 videos since my first post, and none of them have made it past eyeshadow. Something has always gone wrong. One time I actually forgot to press the film button. So my brother is home on spring break and he's a film major, and I was like, look, I just really want to film something because I want to be famous, so I need your help. And so he actually let me use his cool camera and set up the lighting, and I sat down and I filmed a tutorial. And this one is on actually something that a lot of people have asked me about, or people seem to be interested in, or always kind of are like, oh my gosh, that's a lot of work, but it's really not. It makes all the difference in your makeup and your pictures, and it's probably one of my favorite things to do makeup, or like to do with my makeup, and it's contouring. And so it's really popular now, and like you see all these videos of all this crazy stuff and how different people look, but really there's so many different ways to do it, and this is how I learned to contour. I do cream contouring, powder contouring, and bronzing in this video, so if you're interested in learning how to do that or kind of want to figure it out, this is the finished look, and it is fairly natural compared to some contoured looks. But I do this most often because it photographs well, it looks more natural in person, and I think it's really pretty and it's easy to understand. So feel free to keep watching if you want to learn how to do that. Enjoy the video, and hopefully I will post another one within the next like 6 months or something. So I actually made an Instagram account to post more of my makeup, and so that I could dedicate more time to it and kind of share different ideas and tips and looks and get information from other people and what they like to do. So I'll link, or I'll tag my Instagram somewhere in the video at some point. Look at the difference in lighting though. Ready? Ooh, 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 what's that? She's cute. Okay, so as I always do, before I started filming, I washed my skin and moisturized it. And I think that no matter what your skin type is like, this is so important that you do this, just because it makes all the difference in the world when it comes to applying your foundation. So when I like to do a very sculpted or a very lifted face, which is quite often, I try not to go heavy on my foundation or like my skin products, just because it doesn't look natural when you have a sharp contour. It's as simple as that. So I try to keep my foundation, my concealer to a minimum, just so it doesn't look so cakey and so like packed on. What I'm going to prime today is I'm going to go in with my Maybelline Master Prime. And I have it in the shade 300 because it's blur and redness control, and obviously I do have a lot of redness on my face. I think I mentioned that in my first video. I'm going to go in just with my hand and put this onto my face. Okay, so once I have that primer on, once again I let it sit for like a few seconds, and obviously I'll just be talking through it, so it doesn't really matter. But I love this primer, and it goes on so, it almost has like a velvet finish, which I usually stay away from because I do, and I'm going to try and stick towards more drugstore products for this look, just because if you're going to learn how to contour and you're just beginning, don't spend all this money on things that you're not sure if they work for you. So I'll make sure I give you dupes for anything I use that isn't drugstore, just so that you're kind of able to afford it and get it wherever you can. Just because I know this is a beginner video, and it's kind of not fair when people make beginner videos and they use like Marc Jacobs, YSL, all of that stuff. That's not beginner. That's next level. And so I'm just going to spray this on. And so following my priming, I'm going to go in with my absolute favorite, mix of foundation at the moment. And I actually did a friend's makeup last night, Olivia, and she loved this foundation mix. So it works for a lot of different skin types. It is the True Match Lumi, and I'm going to go in with the Visible Lift Serum by L'Oreal. And I'm just going to go in with my finger and apply it to my face, and then I'll buff it out with a beauty blender. Okay, so, oh my god, I'm actually going to throw this bandana in the fire. I always try and tie my hair back for videos because I tie them back when I do my makeup, and I just look so round. Like, my head just looks like a basketball, and so it's just, it's so annoying. Okay, so now that my foundation is done, I make sure it's all blended out, and I will go over it with my Better Skin by Maybelline. I'm going to go in with my giant Morphe buffing brush. So what I'm doing is I'm just pushing it into the skin. I'm not dragging it because I don't want to leave brush marks in the foundation. I want like that flawless coverage. So in order to get that, you push into the skin, you don't pull. Okay, so now that my foundation is done, I'm going to go in with my concealer. My favorite concealer to use is the Naked Skin by Urban Decay. If you aren't interested in investing in this just yet, I would just use either the Fit Me by Maybelline or the Bye Bye Under Eye. I forget who that's by. I don't have it out in front of me right now. And I'm just going to blend out my concealer. And I just like to apply that concealer kind of onto the tops of the eyelids too, just because I find that helps when it comes to setting my face and I don't have to prime my eyes. So I noticed when I put my sponge on, I kind of picked up some of the foundation off of my cheeks because it is a wet sponge. So I just go in and fix that. And now I'm going to set my face. And now, after this, we're finally going to contour. So once that's done, we're going to highlight our face. I highlight the high points of my face. I just do a little bit on the forehead, straight down the nose, on the lip, top lip, and the chin, and blend that out with a beauty blender. And this I find just kind of pulls out the center of your face and helps the edges recede more when it does come to contouring, which in the end makes it look a little bit more sculpted and lifted. Once that's highlighted, it's the fun part. It's time for the cream contour. So I always do cream contour and then powder contour above, but I know people that only do cream and people that only do powder. So if you're new to contouring and you just want to try it out, you might as well try both. And my favorite product to contour with is actually the product I learned how to do this kind of stuff. This is the NYX Wonderstick. It is available at Target, Ulta, CVS, basically anything like that. And it is amazing. I cannot speak highly enough about it. And I always go back to this. I have tried so many different contour products and I can just never find one that works the same way this does. So I always start with my cheeks, and what I do with my cream contour is I do a line from the center of my face to the top, my hairline right by the ear, from the center of my face to the hairline on this side. And what I like to do to find my cheekbone, because sometimes it's hard, and I know girls like me with chubby cheeks, sometimes you don't even know you have a cheekbone hiding in there somewhere, but they're there. And actually yesterday I was playing around a while and just kind of like talking in the mirror, trying to figure out where my cheekbones were, and that's kind of how I figured it out. And that's how I first started to figure it out. But if you kind of like push your mouth to the side, it pops out a little bit, or there's this little tiny line, the faintest line. And if you follow that upwards, that's kind of where your cheekbone is. So that's how I kind of figure it out. So I take my cream contour and apply right there, one line. I'm going to apply on the forehead. I go back and forth a few times on the forehead. Then I do the fun part. I do the chin. And I just do one long line right along the edge of the chin. And the nose. We can do the nose after this is all blended out because the nose looks a little funky and people get all freaked out whenever I contour their nose or when they see me contouring my own nose. And so I'll just wait to have its own separate moment. I'll let that have its own moment. So my favorite way to blend out my cream contour is my Morphe M436 brush. And I think this is like $8 or $7. I don't really know, to be honest with you. but it's amazing. And I blend upwards. When I'm blending my contour out, you never want to pull it down because then that'll make you kind of look all muddy and heavy, and there isn't a natural bronze to this area of your face underneath here. This is where it kind of protrudes, if anything. So you want to be careful that you don't get your contour lower than the line you drew. But I'm going to go back and forth at first and then pull it upwards. And same on the other side. I go back and forth a few times, and then I start to pull it upwards. Okay, and following that, I go in and do the forehead. So the way I blend my forehead contour out is I just kind of take my brush and do slight little like back and forth windshield motions, and then once that's done, I take it into little circles and push it into the hairline like that. Because if you're like me and you have lighter skin, your part of your hair is white and your face and right here is like a darker color. It just doesn't look right. So I like to push it back into the hair just a little bit. So once your cream contour is done, you can finally go into your chin. And if you draw your chin contour too close, it can get messy because you can see this like brown and it looks like you have a little bit of like a beard or a 5 o'clock shadow going on. So you have to make sure this is blended out really well. This is the most important part, I think, personally, to contouring. Okay, so once that's blended in, and how I blended that was I just pulled it down. Basically, that's all I do. Once that's blended in, we're going to go into nose contour. I just can't see that far away. I need to sit closer. Because this is beginner, sometimes dark is intimidating, so I did try and keep it light with just one line, but depending on how sculpted you want to look, you could honestly go back and forth, and darken up that, and then blend it out, and back and forth. It's really just up to you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my contour stick, and I'm going to go, I look like Billy Ray Cyrus or something. I'm going to go right down the edges of my nose, and I'm going to do it one more time just to darken it up. Okay, so I take the contour and I pull it down at the bottom of my nose, and I also take it right there. So I'm going to blend this out, and what I do when I blend out my cream contour of my nose is I pull it into the eye socket because I love a bronze eyelid look anyway, so I usually do some type of brown on my eyes, but it also just kind of hollows out the eye and makes it pop a little bit more, and it looks more natural. It doesn't just like stop. And your eye does naturally, if you kind of play in the right light, come up into your eyebrow. Like I can see it right here, my bone comes through here. So that's where I'm going to blend it. I use the small Morphe eye brush. You can use almost any eyeshadow brush, or if you really wanted, you could use like a flat-edged, this is the Morphe M459, this flat-edged brush, and blend it out as well. So anything with like this kind of dense, sharp edge or a thin top, doesn't matter. And so right after I cream contour my nose, I always, just because it bothers me, I always fix it up right away, even though the other ones I won't fix up until the end. And I just take the other edge of my Wonderstick, which I don't use except for this step, but I take this highlight and I go right down the center of the nose and at the tip of the nose a little bit, just so it straightens out the nose, because I noticed when I put on my contour, it was a little bit crooked, which was fine because this will fix it up, and I blend it out with my finger. Okay, well, we'll just go with it. Hopefully we can edit it. So after my nose is contoured and my cream contour is blended out, I actually bronze. My favorite bronzer at the moment is the Hoola Bronzer from Benefit, and I have it in this Cheek Parade palette, which is so cute. But my favorite bronzer of all time, and a drugstore bronzer that you could get to bronze with, is the Butter Bronzer by Physicians Formula. Every single person I've recommended this to has fallen in love with it. Like, my mom loves this, and it smells like the beach. And obviously I hit pan on it already. But that's what I would suggest if you're just starting out and want to kind of figure it out. You can get the NYX Contour Stick and the bronzer all at CVS or Target or whatever. So if you're into that, go for it. I'm going to use the Hoola Bronzer. And I take my Real Techniques blush brush, which my friend Erica recommended to me. So shout out to her. And I actually just dip it in the bronzer. And I'm going to take it in the shape of a 3. And I'm going to do really, like, soft strokes. And this is just bronzing up my skin, which I obviously need. So I take it on the forehead and down the side. I take it on the cheek. And then, of course, I take it on the chin. And if you can see, the cheek is already starting to come out a little bit. And kind of protrude a little bit more than it naturally would. So far it's a success. Hopefully it's working for you if you're following along. And I'm going to take it on the other side. I'm going to take it on the cheek. And then I'm going to take it on the chin. So right now, my under eyes, I do not like a very white under eye, especially if I'm going to take selfies. You know, you don't want that flashback. So I'm just going to take a little bit and just kind of sweep it under there and onto the cheeks. So that's how I'm bronzing today, but you can kind of do as you please with your bronzer. I know my friends all have different thoughts on bronzer. I know Izzy and I love bronzer. We like load it on, but some people don't, and that's okay. And today I'm not putting that much on. So it's up to you, whatever you're comfortable with. And also just remember that this video is a guide, and if I'm doing something that does not look good on you or you do not like, that's fine. Just play around with it and figure it out what works for you. And yeah, so after I bronze my face, I actually go in with a powder contour. Now, the powder contour I'm going to be using is my Kat Von D Shade and Light palette. But once again, if you're just starting out and you don't want to invest that much money into your contour collection, I would recommend the Ulta Contour Kit. And it's so funny because the NYX is my first cream contour product, and the Ulta Contour Kit was my first powder contour product. And both of them are like my ride or dies for drugstore products. Well, I guess Ulta technically isn't drugstore, but it's like $18. And it's the Ulta brand. So I would count that as, you know, it's pretty affordable. But they're my ride or dies, and I love them, and I recommend them to everyone. And I don't know if I'm just sentimental and I like having them in my bag because they remind me of when I first started, however many, like 3 years ago. But they're awesome, and it comes with instructions. You can never go wrong with instructions that come with the palette. I love them. So, Ulta Contour Kit if you're just starting out and want to invest in something. I'm just going to take it right on the edge of the cheeks. So what the bronzer acted as was almost a setting powder for your cream contour, because when that powder is on top of that cream, it sticks and it stays longer. So I'm not going to go in with that much contour because we already have that bronze and that cream, and I just don't want that heavy look. So I just take my, hopefully I can get close enough to the camera for this. I just, like, do my eyes look really, really, like, white underneath? I feel like they kind of do. So we're going to have to fix that up. So what I'm going to do is, if you can see where this cheekbone is starting to pop out and say like, hey, I take a little bit of a contour like that. And then I blend it into my ear, obviously. And then I push it upwards a little bit just to make it more natural. And that's how I do that. And obviously I'll blend it out at the end. But if you don't want to blend it out and you like that sharp look, go for it. So now I'm going to take it on this side. and blend it into my ear. And now I'm going to take it just on the sides of my nose to set my nose contour. And that's that. So now that I am pretty much bronzed and contoured, I'm going to go back under and fix my under eyes just because it's like bothering me a little bit. And I'm going to take, actually, since it's sitting right here, I'll take my butter bronzer, get it on my little brush, and just kind of tap it on the white areas. Now, you don't want it to be completely the same color because then it gets rid of the whole point of contouring. You do want some white under those eyes to kind of make them pop out. And you want some white on the top of the cheekbone to add highlight and kind of guide where you're going to put your highlight. And so once our cream contour is applied and blended, we've bronzed and set our cream contour, and we went in with another contour powder on top to sharpen it up. You're basically contoured, but you are not sculpted yet because you haven't highlighted, you haven't blended, and you haven't fixed it up. So I'm actually going to jump off camera and do my eyes and do my lips, and then I'll come back and I will blend it out and highlight and do blush, because those 3 things make all the difference in the world. I'm not kidding you. If you walk out just like this, it will not fly very well. So you do want to stick around for the highlight and the contour and the blending, because looking a little funky right now. But while I go and do my eyes, I am going to sharpen up my contour. So how I do that is I take the same setting powder I used for my eyes, which honestly, I've never filmed with this powder before, and I'm kind of like nervous because it looks like it has a little bit of a flashback. And so, I don't know what I'm going to do about that. We'll see when I edit the video. But right now, we're just going to take any flat edge brush. I'm using another Morphe M459 with a flat edge. And I'm going to just take it right underneath the line we drew with our contour color. So the bronzing and the contouring are different. It took me a while to figure that out, but they are different things. So just trust the process and know that you have to bronze and you have to contour. Just saying. Unless you want like a very natural look, you could technically just bronze in the hollows of your cheeks, which maybe I'll do a tutorial on. I don't know. We'll see. But anyways, I'm going to just take this right under the areas that I contoured. And if you can see, it's very white, so hopefully it won't give me flashback. And I'm going to take it on the sides of my noses too, just so it's a little bit more natural, because it was starting to look a little bit muddy on this side. I don't know if you could see it in the camera. I could see it and it was distracting me. But I just take that right on the sides of my nose. And now I'm going to go do my eyes. I will be right back. Okay, so we covered cream contouring, how I prefer to cream contour, my favorite products, and where I apply it. We covered bronzing and how I bronze, where you can buy the things I use to bronze, and we covered contouring. So hopefully that was helpful for you guys, and hopefully you enjoyed it. I will post the links down below to the products I used, and I'll post my social medias in case you have any questions or want to DM me about anything. My DMs are always open, and I actually just started a new Instagram account just for my makeup, so I probably will be more active on there if you DM me. So make sure to check those out and maybe follow me. And lastly, I just want to thank my older brother, who was so nice and so awesome, and who let me use his camera and help me with my lighting, because I just had the hardest time filming all these different videos. So I'm really excited that I finally sat down and filmed one all the way through, and hopefully it gets posted for once. So yeah, and I hope you enjoyed this look, and I will see you next time.